You can put distance between you and yesterday, but you'll never leave it fully behind. Father's words. Hard to argue with them. Floric spoke true. I'm a Grand Duke's son. Just the one. Yours truly. My father and I were close once upon a time, until he disowned me and cast me out of Baldur's Gate. Such a rift isn't so easily mended. But it's not so wide that I'd let my own father suffer at his captor's hands. I've been asking myself the same question. What makes a Duke of Baldur's Gate so interesting to the Drow? Even the houses of Menzoberranzan would have little use for my father. No, this is no Drow plot. These absolute nutters, these true souls are behind his abduction. His absence alone will sow chaos in the city. If they were to infect him, he could lead Baldur's Gate to ruin. All the more reason to find him. The Absolute has seized not just my father, but the future of the Sword Coast. I know, and you're right. When I look into a mirror, I see two faces. I see the Blade of Frontiers, a man hunting the fiends who prey on the weak and claw at the coast. And I see Wyll Ravengard, a memory of a memory. A man who belongs to the past. I wanted you to know the Blade, not the shadow he left behind. I'm all for it. Not so enchanting as you'd think. The Portiers, the Caldwells, they were the blue bloods hosting the fancy balls and drinking from gold goblets. Father's the son of a blacksmith, born with barely a coin in the coffers. He made a name for himself among the Flaming Fist, brave as Balduran, stubborn as a deep Rothay, daring, outspoken, but hardly posh. I spent more time dueling with Father than I did rubbing elbows with lords. Not to say I didn't develop a taste for good wine and a talent for courtly dance. It's been a badger's age since I've twinkled my toes. A drunk ogre could put on a better show. Tempting. Give it some time. Develop a bond, and maybe I'll show you a move or two. Hellsfire. She's coming.
Wyll, you've been naughty. And you know what happens when you're naughty.
God damn it. Anyone but her.
Wyll, you absolute stinker. You kept me a secret? Time to let the Hellcat out of the bag. Call me Mizora. I'm Wyll's patron, the fount of his power. My pet's been unruly, and his leash needs a yank. We had a deal, Wyll. But Karlach's still breathing.
I've taken more pleasant shits than you, Mizora. And at least those can be buried after.
That's no kind of talk for a lady. By the way, Karlach, Zariel sends her regards.
You told me! Devils only! She's a tiefling, not a monster!
How precious. The little pupster's found his bark.
Clause G, Section 9. Target shall be limited to the infernal, the demonic, the heartless, and the soulless.
Karlach meets the criteria by virtue of having no heart. Don't you worry. That ship has long sailed the Styx. But a defiant pup must still pay his price. To wit.
Wyll burns in the fires of Avernus. The lightning storms of Dis strike his flesh. His soul passes through each layer of the hells, gaining their essence and their torment.
That's better.
What the hells have you done?
A promise broken, a price paid. You know the terms.
Get used to the new form, pet.
There's no going back.
Some magic even I can't undo. Now, let's see how the frontiers fare without their precious blade.
Karlach, keep an eye on him, would you? I'll be keeping mine on you.
Oh, and Wyll, don't forget, our pact still stands. Ta-ta.
Playtime's over, pet.
Ah, I love this time of year. The dickheads start popping up wherever you look.
What do you want, Mizora?
Drop the attitude and perk up your ears. You've got a new mission. Absolute's cult has gone and grabbed one of Zariel's assets. A devil. And a powerful one at that. They're locked up in the cult's fortress, Moonrise Towers. And you're getting him out. Well, your playmate's wasting precious time. Let's see about getting her priorities fixed. Ahem. Clause Z, Section 13. Should promised soul refuse obeyance or neglect duty, the pact holder shall cast the promised into Avernus as a lemure. I'll make it simple. Wyll fails or refuses, and he turns to a thick blob of stink flesh and sinks to Avernus. Now, be a good boy and play fetch, pup, or you'll spend an eternity sizzling in the hells.
Mizora's words may be flippant, but they are tinged with desperation. She cannot afford for Wyll to fail this mission. This may be your best chance to negotiate Wyll out of his pact.
Oh, and what condition is that?
Your mind links with Wyll's, drawn in by his increasing panic.
What are you doing?
Wyll relaxes, and your connection fades.
Interesting. Now, why should I go letting my favorite pet off his leash? I've never seen such a fearless display of sheer idiocy. Bravo! Fine. I'll play your game. But I amend the pact once the mission's done, not before. Clause F, Section 9. Soulbinder shall bestow reward or favor only upon soul bearer's fulfillment of related obligation. Now, to Moonrise, pet. And do mind the shadows. They've been especially hungry.
The more bullshit she pours, the more of it I'm forced to swallow. Mizora set me on fiends inside and outside the Hells. She's never ordered a rescue. Gods. She makes a mockery of everything the Blade stands for. Such an asshole. Not just rot. I'd have to fight. One of those mindless blobs clawing at demons on the front lines of the Blood War. And it means everything to me. I always knew what my future held, and I know I chose right. Thank you for sticking your neck out for me. I mean it. But I'm not going to celebrate till I'm actually free. I can feel Mizora scheming, plotting. She won't let me go without making a fuss. Trust me on that. Mizora, you're Zariel's asset.
My dumb little stinker. Took you long enough. Now, by Grazit's cock, get me out of this thing!
I'll do it, and you'll set me free. That was the deal.
Yeah. So, get to it already.
The controls are open to your tadpole's command, to your authority. The symbol's meaning comes into focus. Annihilate. You decipher the symbol. It's an illithid sigil, meaning unleash.
You did all right, Wyll. I'd give your belly a good rub, but never could stand the smell.
You're free, Mizora. I held up my end. Now you hold up yours. Sever the pact.
Clause Z, Section 13. If the Soulbinder consents to separation, she will release the Soulbearer from all obligation within 6 months.
6 months? Gods damn you!
Ignorant thing. It's always the terms and conditions that get you. Another one? Well, after jumping through all those hoops, a little treat wouldn't hurt. All that power. And to think you want to throw it away. Now, you've got business in the towers to take care of.
Don't you fret. I'll find you soon enough. You're going to need me. Count on it. Oh, and go ahead. Tell your chums how we met. It's a real cracker of a tale. Ta-ta.
Zariel's asset was none other than Mizora herself. Of course. Tricks on top of tricks on top of tricks. But I've only got 6 months before I'm made a free man. Thanks be to the Triad. No, scratch that. Thanks be to you. I can't imagine how. The pact binds her as tightly as it binds me. All I have to do is stay alive. That should be easy enough, with someone of your skill at my side. Yes, but first a question. If your home were under siege, what would you sacrifice to save it? It is. And I did. I was 17. Father, older Ravengard, had just been named a Grand Duke and was called away to Elturel to help settle a dispute. That's when the cult of the dragon made its move.
The cult of the dragon, a fractured religion. Some believers hold that undead dragons will inherit the world. Others worship the dragon goddess Tiamat and intend to summon her to Faerun.
To conjure the Dragon Queen and lay waste to Baldur's Gate. A 10-day after Father left, I heard a whisper as I slept. Duskhawk Hill. The Queen of Chaos awakens. Go alone. I grabbed a rapier and set out. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, yet not a single star was shining. There they were, gathered at the foot of the hill.
Your head tingles. Wyll wants to show you what happened. In the looming shadow of the mount, 5 groups of 5 figures each encircle a lofty totem. Atop each totem, a dragon's head is carved, and a massive orb held in its mouth. The cultists chant, first softly, then crying to the starless sky. There is a crack of thunder, a gust of wind, and a dragon's white head appears in the storm. The first of Tiamat's 5 heads. As the maelstrom howls, Mizora's lips press to your ear. She will destroy Baldur's Gate. Grant me your soul and I will give you the power to save it, she whispers.
She read the terms while 2 devils stood witness, and I said yes. 1 soul for 1 city. She didn't. She came on order of her mistress, Zariel.
She never stops, does she? Not for a second.
Tiamat made a play for power. Zariel had other plans. That was the most Mizora's ever said. All that mattered was that she got her prize. Another pet added to her warlock menagerie. I had Mizora at my side, and the archdevil Zariel guided our hands that day. I burned with the fires of Avernus and oozed the rot of Dis. The cultists choked on our poisons and burned from our flames. And when we were done, all that remained were 5 grayed orbs atop a pile of ash. My soul was bound, and my lips were sealed. It is the one scar I ever bore of it. Mizora replaced it with a sending stone. She uses it to track my location and speak from a distance. I could flee to the spine of the world or the depths of the lower dark and still never shake her. He returned to an unsuspecting city and a wayward son with a smirking devil at his side. I tried to tell him the truth, but my mouth couldn't form the words. I'd led him to the battlefield, but Mizora had swept it clean. I showed him my stone eye, but he only turned away. After, he said only one word: go. So I did. I don't know that it was brave. I just know that it was right. I understand. No, never. He did the only thing he could. In his eyes, I invited a devil into our midst. I was a fool at best, a traitor at worst. And Grand Duke Ravengard suffers neither. More than you know. The better question is, did he ever miss me? If he did, he missed the Wyll Ravengard he once knew, not the hell-touched warlock he returned to.
If it isn't little Wyll, straight to your handler. And I didn't even have to whistle.
Mizora, I've had enough. You owe your life to me. Time to end the pact.
Feeling cheeky, are we? Most unbecoming. Heard about your father. The Absolute's puppet. A damned travesty, if you ask me. He's upstairs in Worm's Rock, ordaining Gortash as Archduke. A splendid party, I hear. Perfect for crashing. Go on up. We'll talk after.
Truest of souls, bathed in her light.
There is a fleeting connection. Your parasite communes with his, then falls quiet.
Have you come to behold the new dawn? Help me. Ah, the Black Widow caught you in her web. Floric chose shadow over light. Her betrayal burned deeper than the fires of Avernus. She's been punished for her lies. Don't let her get to you.
Punished? Then Floric's been captured, or worse.
I stilled her tongue. That's the end of the matter.
Within Ravengard's memories, you find Councillor Floric. She is confined in a cell right here in Worm's Rock.
The sun rises, true soul. Are you ready? What is a hero, if not an actor for the greater good? Faerun suffers in darkness. Tyr has abandoned us. Helm's Eye has strayed. But Baldur's Gate will soon burn bright, a beacon to light the heavens. Gortash and I will ignite the final spark, and that, true soul, is the greatest of goods.
Parasite binds your mind to Wyll's. Your memories of talking with Ravengard become his.
You spoke with my father. Incredible. To hear his voice speak those words, like a stranger wrapped in his flesh. I won't let the Absolute keep him. This is my pledge.
Sorore surge, testis esto pacti me. Come, sisters, be my testament. Notum sit in Beator.
Notum sit in Beator.
Holy hells.
Fina, Cirrus, arbiters for the hells, exemplars of justice.
Enough, Mizora. Where is my father? How do I save him?
How else? We bargain. Sisters,
Infernos contractos te vocamus. Infernos contractos te vocamus. Infernos contractos te vocamus.
Your contract, Wyll. Signed in blood, forged in fire, bound in bone, but not unbreakable. No contract is ended without sacrifice. A cost must be paid. Wyll Ravengard, a choice is before you. Option 1. I show you the way to your father. I guarantee him no harm except that from you and your allies. And you pledge your soul to me and the archdevil Zariel in a pact eternal. Option 2. I break your pact and you are freed from your duty. Your father dies by his enemy's hand, and Baldur's Gate loses its greatest champion. Name your sacrifice.
Bloody Zariel! I won't let her take Wyll.
Silence, Karlach.
Mizora, you asshole!
Choose. Addendum F. The Absolute must be avenged for the Soulbinder's detention at Moonrise. The Soulbearer retains his gifts until such time as the Absolute is slain.
You damned wretch! Father. Do it. Break the pact.
Fiat Ita.
Fiat ita. Anima ad beator.
Didn't think you had it in you. Seems my boy's all grown up. And don't go fussing about your father. You made your choice. You knew the terms. You know what? I think I'll stick around. Not for the greater good, you understand. Just for the entertainment.
Gods, I spent 7 years choked by Mizora's leash. And I spent 7 years hoping to break free. I never knew freedom could taste so bittersweet. I have to believe that. I'm not the Hell's puppet in life, nor its warrior in death. The blade will be guiding his own hand. But freedom will be paid in my father's blood. Tomorrow, I celebrate my gain. Today, I mourn my loss.
A moment passes. In the stillness, you find a mote of tranquility.
The Ravengard name now lives solely with me. I will make it count for something. I signed his life away before the Hell's witnesses. It would be easier to drink the sticks down to the last drop than to alter his fate. I'd be a fool to wish otherwise. We obtain the final 2 nether stones and take back our minds. And the city. From the brain.
Little Will's all grown up. I can't wait to see what trouble he gets into. I beg your forgiveness for such undue impertinence. From now on, I promise him the same measure of respect he's shown his father. Oh, I almost forgot. Wyll sold his father's life for his freedom. My mistake.
Why? I'm supplying Wyll with every scrap of his infernal power. I've paid my dues many times over. I tell you what, when the time comes to squish that big baddie of a brain, I'll lend you a hand.
The Absolutists worked a number on me at Moonrise. And you're the best hope I've got at payback. No one crosses the Hell's Children without getting scorched.
Oh, you are an inquisitive one. I'd have thought you'd figured by now. Zariel found new use for an old battle axe. The dead three in that bulging brain of theirs are a threat to more than this trifling city, you know. Savor her company. Who's to say when Zariel might change her mind? My mistress can be so capricious.
The 9 hells of Beator. Each its own domain, each with its own archdevil to rule it. I call the first hell my home, Avernus. My mistress Zariel's realm, a torrid battleground split by the bloody waters of the Styx.
How I adore it. The delicious agony of it all. The other 8, well, they are pleasures unto themselves. Perhaps I'll show you myself, if I deem you worthy. Correct. I didn't. If you must know, I was scouting the cultists on behalf of Zariel, but those cursed shadows were thick enough to fell even a half-fiend. I woke in that damned pod. It kept my body sealed and my most powerful magic silenced. But a brave, kind, benevolent soul set me free. Gallantry isn't dead after all.
Wyll, my pet, I was hoping you'd bound along. A bargain's a bargain, and I've come to see it through. Mia Furia. Kneel for me.
What are you doing?
Exactly what you asked for. Now, stand back and enjoy the show.
Greets you. Upon exiting the submersible, unlike the Iron Throne, you remain intact. So it seems will the families of all the hostages rescued from the throne. Duke Ravengard approaches you, looking confused.
He's tadpoled, but under my protection now, just like you. His mind is his own again.
Father,
Wyll. Gods, it pains me to look at you. By Baldrin's graces, why have the hells ordained you to save me?
Your tadpole resonates with Ravengard's. The exhausted Grand Duke is a flurry of emotion.
By every last hell, son, are you on my head?
Ravengard's head still aches so powerfully the pain seeps into you. The Absolute may be silenced, but the Duke's parasite still remains.
please, I know you have questions, but for now, I need you safe. We'll talk soon enough.
Ravengard answers with silence. He and Wyll have much to discuss.
First you cleave my heart in twain, now you shatter it to pieces. My son, a monster. Twisted beyond recognition. To think my blood flows through those veins. Is this my fate? To be freed from Gortash's hell, only to be trapped in yours?
It isn't what you think.
It never was.
You turned your back on me, on your city, to chase the she-devil and her power. She stinks up the place even now. It is exactly what I think.
Ravengard's tadpole clenches as your memories and wills flow into him.
My tears wounds. I'm in your mind.
The Grand Duke sees Mizora and her infernal sisters. He sees the agony in Wyll's face as an impossible choice is set before him.
No. My son.
The past becomes present, and Wyll's thoughts are laid bare. Ravengard sees Wyll partnering with Mizora to defeat Tiamat's cultists before they could lay siege to Baldur's Gate, and he sees everything beyond. The Nautiloid journey, the perilous path to Moonrise, the astral prism, and the Emperor within.
Well,
Everything I did for Baldur's Gate. I did for you.
my son. You sold your soul to save Baldur's Gate, and I cast you out for it. You gave yourself to the Hell's eternal fires so I might walk free. By the gods. Can you ever forgive me?
There's nothing to forgive. You wanted to protect the city. I only ever wanted the same.
You are a better man than most, and a better son than I deserve. I'll yet make amends, but my duty is first and foremost to the city and its people. There's something I must ask of you. Before I was captured, I was on a mission. Returning from Elturel, I discovered the plans of the Absolutists. I immediately realized the city couldn't defend itself against such an army. I didn't despair, because the city has a secret guardian, a worm that sleeps beneath. He can be called upon in times of great need. This is such a time. You've been trained in the ways of the great champions and proven to be one of them. The worm will answer your call. You must seek him out.
Do you mean Ansur? The worm is dead, Father. Where we might have once found a friend, we found only his bones, animated by an old grievance. But the heart of the gate still lives. In me, in my allies. In Ansur's defeat, I found my spirit renewed. For as long as devils and demons imperil the Sword Coast, they will be my prey. I am the Blade of Avernus.
Then go with my blessing. Be Faerun's great defender. Courage, insight, strategy, justice. Let these be the lights that guide you, my son. Hail, the Blade of Avernus! The devil's stench lingers, but Wyll is yet a champion of the people. I'd hoped he'd join me on the council, but he is his own man. I couldn't be prouder. Hell's Floric. While the Absolute commanded my mind, I condemned her to death and confined her in Worm's Rock prison. She stood by me even as the Hell's fires lapped at my feet. You must free her. Tremendous news. She proves as loyal to you as she is to me. I couldn't bear it if she died by my command. May the Triad guide her steps. I was returning from Elturel. My traveling party stopped at an inn, Joaquin's Rest, to lay our heads. It wasn't the heat that woke me. It was the scent. Cultists had set fire to the place. I don't remember being taken. Just the smoke burning my throat before I fell. I awoke in Moonrise Towers, inside one of those damnable pods. The rest, well, the rest goes without saying. A complicated one. I went to greet Elturel's High Overseer, only for the Archdevil Zariel to drag the city into the hells. I've been touched by Avernus, been a plaything for demons. A tale for other places, other days. Whatever strength I have to lend, I will lend it. I will make my city proud again.
I've seen him more than a few times, and he's as proud of me as I am of him. He's leading the city's renewal, opened the gates to all newcomers, rebuilt the council from scratch. And he's back in his element, commanding the Flaming Fist with brave heart and no shortage of empathy. The likes of Gortash can bend people's minds with a few chosen words. No tadpole needed. Bane's Chosen primed the Fist for a war they weren't meant to win. He convinced them there was an assassin hiding in every shadow, that cruelty was the correct answer to crisis. With a few exceptions, fathers pardoned every last Fist. If my forgiveness not be Tyr's will, so be it. I shall forgive them all the same. His words, not mine. He still believes in the bow and the blade, but with Floric's help, he's teaching the Fist a new lesson. Valor is found not in the wounds you inflict, but in the lives that you have bettered. May they all take it to heart.